administration's attacks on some of the most vulnerable communities, and in particular children and pregnant women, as it relates to the work of DHS. And in particular, under your leadership, DHS has rescinded the DACA program, and under the leadership of the administration, predating your arrival as Secretary, DHS has rescinded the DACA program, putting 700,000 young people at risk of deportation. It has separated 700 children from their parents at the border since October of 2017, including more than 100 children who are under the age of 4. The agency has released a directive that allows for more detention of pregnant women to immigrant detention facilities. The agency has instituted a new information sharing system between the Office of Refugee Resettlement and ICE that is likely to have a chilling effect on sponsors who otherwise would be willing to come forward to provide care for unaccompanied minors, and instead of allowing those children to remain in detention. The agency has dramatically increased enforcement actions that have left an untold number of both immigrant and U.S. citizen children without one or both parents, leaving some of those children in the child welfare system. And then just last Wednesday, the Washington Post reported that you are considering undermining the Flores Agreement, an agreement that ensures standards of care for immigrant children, such as the provision of meals and recreation, and that they are placed in a least restrictive setting as possible. In the course of carrying out these actions, the administration has routinely provided misleading information to this committee and has even gone so far as to claim that policies such as routinely separating families are carried out in the best interest of the child, which many consider to be cruel. So my question to you is, last Thursday, when the New York Times reported that the President has directed you to separate parents from children when they cross into the United States as a way to deter illegal immigration, is that correct? Have you been directed to separate parents from children as a method of deterrence of undocumented immigration?
I have not been directed to do that for purposes of deterrence, no.
What purpose have you been given for separating parents from their children?
So my decision has been that anyone who breaks the law will be prosecuted. If you're a parent or you're a single person or you happen to have a family, if you cross between the ports of entry, we will refer you for prosecution. You've broken U.S. law.
At an April 26th hearing, I asked Undersecretary James McCammett to provide me with what percentage of cases exist in your agency where a child has been separated from a parent or guardian since October of 2017, wherein the case resulted in trafficking charges. I've not been given that information. Can you provide that to me?
I do not have it now, but yes, I will provide it to you.
Okay. Can you do that by the end of next week?
If we have the information, yes.
Thank you. I also asked that I be provided with what training and procedures are being given to CBP officers as it relates to how they are instructed to carry out family separation. I've not received that information. Do you have that today?
No, you have not asked me for it, so I do not have it, but
no,
I'm happy to give it to you.
Okay, so again, by the end of next week, please.
Can you explain a little more what you're looking for?
Sure. So your agency will be separating children from their parents. And
no, what we'll be doing is prosecuting parents who've broken the law, just as we do every day in the United States of America.
I can appreciate that. But if that parent has a 4-year-old child, what do you plan on doing with that child?
The child under law goes to HHS for care and custody.
They will be separated from their parent.
Just like we do in the United States every day.
So they will be separated from their parent. And my question then is, when you are separating children from their parents, do you have a protocol in place about how that should be done? And are you training the people who will actually remove a child from their parent on how to do that in the least traumatic way? I would hope you do train on how to do that. And so the question is, and the request has been, to give us the information about how you are training and what the protocols are for separating a child from their parent.
I'm happy to provide you with the training information.
Thank you. And what steps are being taken, if you can tell me, to ensure that once separated, parent and child, that there will be an opportunity to at least sustain communication between the parent and their child?
The children are at HHS, but I'm happy to work with HHS to get you an answer for that.
And I'd like it to be broken down between what you're doing for children over the age of 4 and what you're doing for children under the age of 4. On May 4th, the president of the American Academy of Pediatrics issued a statement on behalf of the organization stating that he is appalled by a new policy by the DHS that will forcibly separate children from their parents. He went on to talk about that they will create stressful experiences like family separation, which can cause irreparable harm, disrupting a child's brain architecture, affecting his or her short and long-term health. And these findings are generally shared by the American Medical Association and many child welfare advocates and professionals. Last Tuesday, before Senate appropriations, you testified that you are, quote, working with the community to understand the science as it relates to the impact of such separation. Do you dispute that separating a child from their parent will create and cause trauma for that child?
I believe the question that was asked to me if I was aware of the information, and what I said is I would be happy to look into the studies. Again, we do not have a policy to separate children from their parents. Our policy is if you break the law, we will prosecute you. You have an option to go to a port of entry and not illegally cross into our country.
Secretary Nielsen, we do have a policy in this country as a general matter in the justice system that if someone breaks the law, they will be prosecuted. We also have protocols about what is allowable and not in connection with an arrest, in connection with detention in a jail, in connection with how many hours or days with which we can bring charges or not. So to suggest that the only law in this country relates to what you do at the end is really misleading.
But that's not what I just said, ma'am. Okay. If you're asking if we train and we take care of them and we work with HHS, we now have a memorandum of agreement so that we can make sure that the children go to people who are actually family members and who are not traffickers and who won't abuse them.
Great. So that's the